Modern cities were supposed to be the centers of life. People moved to them for opportunity, culture, and connection. But somewhere along the way, cities stopped belonging to the people who live in them. Downtown districts, once full of families, markets, and noise, have turned into glass deserts. Investment firms buy entire blocks, not to live in them, but to store capital. Apartments stay dark for months, waiting for the next resale. Whole towers exist as numbers in someone's portfolio. And yet, outside those empty skyscrapers, millions of people are packed into overcrowded suburbs, spending 3 or 4 hours a day just to reach the city that no longer has room for them. There is a paradox. Cities became too expensive to live in, too empty to feel alive, and too big to escape. It's not a story about architecture or economics. It's about what happens when a place designed for human life forgets that humans are supposed to live there. Walk through the center of almost any major city, and you'll see the same thing. Polished towers, identical coffee chains, and streets that look alive only during office hours. But most of these buildings aren't owned by people who work or live there. They belong to funds, banks, and holding companies. The city's heart has been sold piece by piece to investors who will never set foot in it. Real estate stopped being about space. It became about speculation. Apartments aren't homes anymore, they're financial products. A safe place to park money while it grows in value. That's why so many city centers feel strangely lifeless. You can see the lights, but not the people. Behind the windows are empty rooms, purchased, insured, but uninhabited. Meanwhile, those who actually make cities run, teachers, drivers, nurses, baristas, live hours away. They leave home before sunrise, return after dark, and spend half their lives in transit. Cities didn't run out of space. They just gave it to the wrong owners. And as property turned into an investment, presence became a privilege. The modern skyline looks impressive from a distance. Glass, steel, geometry, a statement of progress. But up close, it feels cold. The streets around new towers are clean, empty, and strangely quiet, as if they were built to be seen, not lived in. These buildings don't breathe with the rhythm of human life. They don't have balconies, courtyards, or open windows. They are sealed environments, perfectly air-conditioned, acoustically isolated, and emotionally vacant. Most of them are half-empty. Office floors sit unused after remote work made them redundant. Luxury apartments, they locked because their owners live somewhere else. Hotels turned into long-term rentals for people who can't afford a home but need an address. The city keeps building, but not for people, for investors, for image, for skyline photography. This architecture no longer serves life, it performs it. It gives the illusion of prosperity while hiding the absence of community. The higher the towers rise, the less human the city feels. And what used to be the center of connection now stands as a monument to separation between classes, between purposes, between those who live and those who simply own. While the centers of cities grow quieter, the edges are overflowing. People still come for work, for school, for survival, but they can't afford to stay. Entire populations now live on the perimeter, in endless rings of small apartments and high rents, built just far enough away to be affordable and just close enough to remain dependent. Every day they move toward the city in the morning and away from it at night. A slow tide of buses, trains, and cars carrying millions who who no longer have a place inside the world they sustain. The word commute sounds harmless, but for many, it's half a life. 3 or 4 hours a day in motion between exhaustion and arrival. The workday doesn't start at 9. It starts at the first train. And by the time they return home, there's no day left to live. The city takes their time, their energy, their patience, and gives nothing back except the promise of another morning. Urban planners call it growth, but it feels more like drift, a system where the people who keep the city alive are slowly pushed beyond its borders. It's a quiet form of exile, repeated daily and accepted as normal. When housing became an investment, neighborhoods stopped being communities. Apartments turn over every few months. Renters move out, investors move in, and no one stays long enough to know the person next door. The small rituals that made cities human, shared courtyards, local stores, neighbors saying hello, have quietly disappeared. There's no reason to invest in people when the only thing that appreciates is property value. Developers talk about urban renewal, but what they really mean is replacement. Old houses become condos, small cafes become chains, local markets turn into lifestyle centers with the same 6 brands you can find anywhere. The city still functions, but it doesn't belong to anyone. It's efficient, predictable, and hollow. You can live in the same building for 10 years and never learn a single name. Community isn't something you can buy or design. It grows from presence. And presence requires permanence, the decision to stay. But modern cities reward movement, not belonging. The faster people come and go, the higher the rent can rise. And so, slowly, the city forgets how to recognize its own residents. What remains are isolated lives stacked vertically, connected by elevators, but not by trust. From the outside, big cities look wealthy. Luxury stores, new developments, cafes on every corner. Everything suggests prosperity. But if you look closer, you realize how little of that money actually stays where it's spent. Local shops are gone. The small bakeries, bookstores, and repair services that once gave neighborhoods a face have been replaced by global brands with identical interiors. Rent killed individuality long before automation did. What's left is an economy that circulates without roots. Every profit flows upward to landlords, corporations, and investors far from the place where it was made. The people who work in the city can barely afford to consume what they produce. Creativity used to grow out of cheap spaces, old garages, shared studios, forgotten buildings. Those are gone too, replaced by co-working hubs that charge by the hour and feel like waiting rooms for a future that never comes. Cities still attract talent, but they no longer nurture it. They sell lifestyle instead of opportunity. What used to be innovation has become branding. And so the city keeps earning, but not living. It generates numbers, not stories. A polished economy built on borrowed air. It's strange to call such a place successful when everything inside it feels temporary. You notice it in small moments. The silence of a glass lobby at night. The echo of your own footsteps on streets that were designed to impress, not to welcome. Everything looks complete, but nothing feels finished. The city performs life beautifully. Billboards show smiling faces, ads promise connection, cafes are full of people looking at screens. But the atmosphere is thin. It's like walking through a place that remembers being alive. There's no chaos anymore, no imperfection, no noise that doesn't serve a purpose. Even the graffiti looks curated. Every space feels rented, not just by tenants, but by meaning itself. And that emptiness spreads quietly. It's not about loneliness, it's about absence. The absence of genuine presence. No one owns their time, their space, or even their attention. Cities used to have a pulse, unpredictable, uneven, human. Now they run on schedule. They function perfectly. And that's what makes them feel dead. When everything is optimized, there's no room left for life to happen by accident.
Distance used to separate cities from villages. Now it separates workers from the cities they sustain. For millions, the day begins before sunrise and ends long after dark. Trains, buses, and traffic jams form a moving shadow around every major city, a human current flowing in and out, carrying the people who keep everything running but can't afford to live where they work. This is the real cost of modern urban life. Not rent, but time. The average person spends 3 or 4 hours a day just getting somewhere. That's almost a full working day each week, unpaid, unnoticed, irreversible. People try to use that time to listen to podcasts, answer emails, watch something. But deep down, everyone knows it's gone. Hours traded for distance, life traded for access. Urban planners call it mobility, but it feels more like displacement, a quiet daily exile from home to work and back again. The city promises opportunity, but the closer you get to it, the less you can afford it. And so you move farther out until the city is only a skyline on the horizon, glowing with possibilities you no longer believe in. The more time people spend moving through the city, the less they belong to it. And maybe that's the cruelest part. We're all still coming and going, but the city no longer waits for us to arrive.
Now, every downtown of every major city is a monument to our greed, shiny but forever empty. Think about it. Just think about it.